What's up, RotoGrinders? Welcome to another edition of FanDuel Friday. We're going to talk some strategy, help you break down this Friday slate on FanDuel. We got a big one. We got 11 games for game by game, who the best specific plays are in each game. Head over to the morning grind where they break that one down game by game. We're going to be talking more general strategy. The goal is this can be something that stays valuable all day long, even after the injury news drops. And we're also going to be answering questions and comments in the FanDuel Friday section on RotoGrinders in the YouTube page. Tag us, fire us a question on in the RotoGrinders Discord or on Twitter, and we will be answering your questions throughout the day as injury news drops as well. I'm not here with my normal partner in crime. We had a crazy NBA slate last night, and it was late. It didn't go. It stayed till late in the night, and so because of that, the slates didn't release all the stuff until late, and so couldn't be doing this with my man Dre today. But I have another good friend, another NBA expert, Justin Carlucci. Luch, how you doing?
What's up? Yeah, Dre and I were up late recording the morning grind, so we had a lot of good conversation on there. Crazy slate. So there's plenty of different ways to go. We're still waiting on a bunch of news to drop as well. The most recent thing I saw is that Malcolm Brogdon is in. So that's not like super significant, but there's a lot of opportunity to stack certain games. A lot of games that are projecting pretty well, which I know you'll bring us into conversation at some point. And there's some studs that are going overlooked tonight. So I'm excited to talk about that with you.
Yep, I agree with you. And we have a few games that we're missing players. We got a very wide range of value in these games. And then we also have, like you mentioned, some overlooked studs, some games with some high totals in this one. And so let's break it down. Like I mentioned, Luch was on the morning grind with Dre already. So they went game by game, and you can check that one out. But we're going to mainly talk strategy. So on an 11-game slate, there are some high totals here. High totals usually lead me to want to do some game stacks. But on a 11-game slate, it's kind of tough to imagine a bunch of players from one game being in the optimal lineup. You're going to have to differentiate a little bit. What does a game stack look like for you on a slate this big? And what are some of the main games you're looking at targeting?
I think it's about contest selection too. The larger field I'm playing, the more prone I am to full stack something just because it's a little less likely that it's going to be the correct outcome, and you're going to get a bunch of sidecar pieces from that game at single digit ownership. So I think the larger field contests I play, I'm more prone to keep some some third option scores in the player pool and some guys that usually don't go out of your way to target in single entries. So I think if I'm playing a single entry, I like a good 2-1 if it makes sense. Grab a stud from one team. Maybe there's a value piece on the other side, and then another mid-range guy that you think has some upside. So, it's a pretty big slate here. And the smaller the slate is, the more prone I am to full stacking and hope that game shoots out as well. But, there is going to be a lot of outlier scores tonight, and we're going to see a lot of ceilings, and there are certainly a lot of different ways to build here. So I know that was the kind of beat around the bush response, but that's typically how I approach things.
No, but I think it makes a lot of sense because it's the same as if you even look at a sport like football where not enough people game stack and full stack, in my opinion. I'm always of the mindset that if I don't have a running quarterback, I'm playing 3 pass catchers with my quarterback in a large field tournament, because if there's 150K, 100K, 200K, $1 million up top, I want to win first. I don't want to min cash. If I'm playing double ups, quintuple ups, small field stuff, then yeah, it's not the same case because I don't have to get as completely different, but I want my quarterback to throw 5 touchdowns. And so I want the receivers. I want a game that I'm stacking to go into overtime or double overtime. And so, yeah, that's not super likely, but on a 10-game, 11-game slate in a super big contest, I might feel the need to do that. Now, there is FanDuel has some interesting stuff over there today because it's a sort of a different night to MME because the main contest with 100K to first, it's $9. And so I don't know about you, but after buying a house, after having a wedding, I'm in no position, even after some big NFL wins and NBA wins last year, to be MMEing in a $9 contest with 100K up top to first. They also have a $3 with 5K to first. And now that's not very much to win if you're risking an MME, but $3 nowhere near as expensive. There's less than 20K people in it, and 25% of people cash and double up in this one. That's looking like a little interesting contest that I might be considering firing up an MME build today. But with only 18,000 people in it, 19,000 people in it, sorry, I don't know how off the board I think I'm going to have to get, especially in something low dollar. And so looking at these important spots on the slate, I think we want to prioritize. First things first, we have Miami. Bam Adebayo is doubtful. Caleb Martin and Dwayne Dedmon are probable now, but Jimmy Butler got ruled out. And so we got no Jimmy Butler, no Tyler Harrow. We're left with a slew of value on this team. Like, we're currently, I think we only have currently projected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in lineup HQ. One of them's Haywood Highsmith, projected for 4 minutes. We got a ton of value in this spot. Kyle Lowry is the most expensive play at 6.7. We got Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Nikola Jovic, maybe Dwayne Dedmon, Duncan Robinson, maybe even Jamal Cain. All of these guys are looking like potential strong values in Miami. And then we got a team like Charlotte where Gordon Hayward's been upgraded to questionable now, so if he plays, that'll limit some of the value we have there. But no Dennis Smith Jr. and no LaMelo Ball after he re-injured that same ankle, stepping on a fan's foot in their last game. If Hayward's out, all of a sudden we got Rozier, Oubre, Washington, McDaniels, Maladon. All of these guys are going to be playing some pretty big minutes, with Terry Rozier leading the charge as kind of the priority. And then the other the other two teams actually that we have some big injury stuff that's opening up value is no Desmond Bane from Memphis. Now that doesn't open up a ton, but it makes a very cheap Dylan Brooks a chalky cash game lock that is going to be interesting to look at for tournaments. We're currently projecting him at 35% ownership, and a overlooked at this point sub 10%, but very strong looking tournament play in Ja Morant. And then the final place I want to touch on is Denver, where we have no Aaron Gordon. We have no, I thought Aaron Gordon was questionable, but I currently see him not projected in lineup HQ. So I'm wondering if I missed that news. No Nikola Jokic, no Jamal Murray. So Bones Highland to me is looking like basically the best play on the slate. Michael Porter's in a great spot after a very disappointing game last game in Jokic's and Gordon's absence. Even guys like Caldwell Pope, Bruce Brown, even Zeke Naji and DeAndre Jordan and Jeff Green look like potentially interesting plays as well. And I just got the notification that Tobias Harris is questionable, meaning we may have more value opening up for Philly, and Drew Holiday is still questionable. And so we might see more value open up in that game as well. Of all these spots where we know this news already, what are your priorities? Where do you, like, after all of that being broken down, where do you look and say, this is the most important spot for me on this slate?
I can give you a complicated answer, but right now I like Miami because especially if I'm multi-entering. By the way, FanDuel, if you're listening and if you want to have a sit down with TJ and I, and maybe we could talk about bringing back the $3 to $4 NBA shot with 100K up top. Maybe we can have a little proactive conversation. We'd love to chat and just get that prize pool back that we love so much.
And you know what? Even if not that, they fill all these NBA contests. It's not like they never fill them. Give us what we have in NFL. Give me a $3 MME, a $4 one with 100K up top, a $5 one with 10K up top, a $7 one, a $9 one. Let's load all these up. Give us the opportunities because what sucks for me and you, and I mean, it's I guess a little bit of a humble brag. Boo-hoo, I've won a lot of money before. But MMEing's fun. It's enjoyable. I love doing it. On a day that I got nothing going on, I got some free time. The wife's at work. Sometimes I just want to dive in, and I'm doing these shows. I like to MME because I'm breaking it down anyways. But when it's $9, when it's $7, I can't always afford to do that, because when you're MMEing, you're basically expecting to lose. You hope you hit big. You hope over the course of a season, if you're MMEing all the time, you win first 2 or 3 times. And if you do that, you're going to still end up making a buttload of money. The problem is, if you can't afford to be MMEing every day, your chances of hitting it aren't very high. You're expecting to lose. And so it's tough to blow thousands of dollars every single day, kind of hoping you hit big. And so because of that, when we're not allowed to play anything below $3, you're not allowed to do that 222.25 entry max. You're not allowed to do that 25 cents, 150 entry max. It's tough because you either have to blow your bankroll or you have to not play. And while maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, they should want you to blow your bankroll, that's a good thing for them. They want to take your money. Well, guess what? If I'm playing every day, I'm going to blow a lot more money than if I'm playing once, losing it, and then upset and not depositing. So let's bring back some more of those contests. But yeah, I think Miami is a great spot to kind of prioritize here without Bam, without Jimmy. And without Harrow. That's a lot of usage. We can pull up Court IQ, but I don't think there's a whole lot of those. There's going to be a whole lot of minutes, because you're always going to see kind of Harrow, Bam, and Jimmy staggered somewhat to get one of those guys on the court. Who is your priority from Miami today?
It's Gabe Vincent. It is, but I do like all these guys. They're all fairly priced for this role. A 108 team total right now is still very respectable. Washington plays kind of slow. They're average defensively. But the thing is about all these cheap guys is they're all guys who can put the ball in the basket, And that's the thing. More oftentimes than not, you're looking for value and you're dealing with guys that are 3 or 4K, and they're just like a 12% usage guy, right? Getting an uptick in minutes. And that's pretty much it. That's not the case with these guys here. I have no problem playing pretty much anybody on Miami here. Between Strus, Vincent, Lowry is the spend up, I guess, on this team now. Caleb Martin and Robinson. Now, and you talk about how multi-entering is fun. It's kind of like painting a picture, building a puzzle. And you're right. It is rewarding when you do well, and it really ticks you off when you think you have the right script and the right rule set and you just don't get over the top. But, there's some days where on an 11-game slate, I have 40 player groups, right? Because I want exactly what I want in my builds. This might be a case for me that I go into lineup IQ here, go to player groups, and select a new group here. We love all these value pieces, TJ, right? But what are the odds on an 11-game slate in large field tournaments that you get ceiling games or enough scoring, that it works out for you? I'm probably going to go in here if I'm multi-entering tonight and put in these cheap pieces here. Who am I missing? I guess we could throw in Caleb Martin.
I think you throw in Kyle Lowry too.
Yeah. And I mean, if I'm playing large field or even just maybe a single entry, I'm not sure I'm playing more than 2 Wizards. It's not like any of these guys other than Robinson are sub 4K. And it's not like we have a 120 team total or anything like that. So I'm totally fine with Miami exposure, but this is just, if you're not familiar with lineup HQ or maybe you just don't do groups, you got to use player groups here, because now if you spit out 100 lineups, I have this build rule set that you might not use any Heat in the lineup, but you're not going to use more than 2. Now, if you definitely want at least some Miami exposure in each one of your lineups, you're going to want to put a minimum of 1 there. And that's how it's done. So it could be a crazy night. And if you're multi-entering, you definitely need to sift through the weeds a little bit here. How many Miami guys can you play in a tournament build, TJ?
I think 3, but 2 of these players. And so I'm going to make the exact same group, 0-2 of this group, but then I would make an additional group and say maximum 1 of Dwayne Dedmon, Nikola Jovic, and then I would make a maximum 3 player rules, like when in the build rules section of lineup HQ. I'd go build rules, players per team, and I'd set this at 3. Now, this is something I don't really mess with a ton unless I'm running a full 150. Like if I'm just running optimizer, seeing where things land, I don't do that. But when I'm actually doing 150 lineups and inputting them, that's when I do that a ton. And same thing as you, I build those player groups and I go to those build rules as well, and I'll mix that in. The team that my biggest priority, I think, is going to be Denver. Now, because of this low total and because they're facing Dallas, a team that's strong on defense and a team that is plays slow as well, I don't think we're going to get a lot of people going to Denver today. And this is not a game I'm going to be looking to full stack with 3 or 4 Denver players because of this slow pace. But Bones Hyland is going to be my highest owned player today. I will likely have Bruce Brown or Michael Porter in most of the lineups. I don't have Bones Hyland. I won't make the rule that I need a Denver player in every lineup or anything like that, because just in case they get blown out. But look at this team. Who will play point guard even if it's a blowout other than Bones Hyland or Bruce Brown?
Could be a Bruce Brown assist game.
Like, it's very, very tempting to me to do a 1-2 of Bruce Brown and Bones Hyland in every lineup. I don't think I will. We'll see. It's early in the day. We'll see how many other players I want to play at those positions. That's basically what it's going to come down to. But
yeah,
it's really hard for me, even in a slow pace spot. It's really hard for me to imagine Bones Hyland or Bruce Brown not starting. Or sorry, not smashing, because like Bones this year, like look at his last few games. 45.5 fantasy points in 24 minutes, 19 in 23 minutes, 27 in 29 minutes, 31 in 22 minutes.
Yeah, and not only that, this is a classic case of look at the usage rate. When the guy's on the court, he's putting on. He's not just standing there in the corner like Contavious Caldwell-Pope's going to do, who might have a solid game.
We see these usage rates, and those are going to be the same ones. Those are going to be the same ones in this game because he plays with the second unit where there's no Jokic and Murray. Well, guess what? There's no Jokic and Murray in this entire game. And we're projecting him for 32 minutes right now. If this game stays close, that'll probably be more. We're projecting Bruce Brown for 28 minutes. I think I'm probably going to change that projection to 32 for Bruce Brown and 34 for Bones Hyland. Just kind of knowing that it's probably going to be more than that for those guys, but one of them will have that. If Bones only has 28 minutes, that means Bruce Brown will have 36. If Bruce Brown only has 26 minutes, it's because Bones Hyland had 36. And so this is my priority spot today, and it's those two guys specifically while mixing in some Michael Porters, some Caldwell Popes, some Zeke Najee's. I don't think I want to play DeAndre Jordan on an 11-game slate. I just cannot imagine DeAndre Jordan being the reason I lose. He played 26 minutes last game, and he didn't even crack 20 fantasy points. I'd rather just play Zeke, who, if this game goes somewhat smaller, he's going to be the guy, and he's cheaper, and he's got the power forward eligibility. But Denver is going to be my priority spot. The other three places I want to talk about specifically We still don't know about LeBron, and so
Right.
that's an interesting
It is
situation.
very interesting. Can I hop in on Denver real quick before we segue?
Oh yeah. Hop in on Denver. Talk to me about the interesting situation of LeBron, and then I'll talk about the other games that I want to pinpoint.
It's the Denver game for me, but again, I'm gonna go into lineup HQ here if I'm multi-entering. And Luka Doncic has been incredible, right? We're gonna see a hefty ownership number on Bones Highland on an 11 gamer. So this is what I'm doing. You mentioned blowout concerns. I would go in here and make Luka my conditional player. So I know that every lineup build where I have Luka Doncic, Bruce Brown, I'm going to throw over here in the group, Bones Highland. I guess I'll put Kentavious Caldwell Pope in here, and even Michael Porter coming off the clunker. What I would set this at honestly is 1-2. Wherever I have a Luka Doncic share is going to be attached to someone on Denver. Now, listen, if you run lineup HQ and it spits out 75% of Kentavious Caldwell Pope, because you have a ton of Luka, that's when you want to use your min max, cap out Caldwell Pope at something you're comfortable with. Because you and I are on the same page here. We're more comfortable with Bones Highland and Bruce Brown. And then kind of I think Michael Porter, due to price and maybe not playing fantastic, is like number 3 on our list there. Is that kind of what you're feeling?
Call me crazy, but I think you have to I'm going to do this too, but I think you have to change it to 2-3. If I'm playing a 12K Luka Doncic,
yeah, good
then
point.
I think I want to play 3 of these guys.
At least 2. I mean, you mentioned blowout.
Yeah, 2-3. Yeah, at least 2, exactly.
Bones and Porter, they should be the usage guys. Bruce Brown could fill up the stat sheet. He's very cheap. I guess I don't like Porter's price as much, but Bruce Brown, rebounds, assists, he's that kind of player. Denver plays at by far the slowest pace in the league, like you alluded to. But, steals and blocks upside. These guys should play 30 minutes if the game's competitive. I think that's the way to go. So,
my
you have
hesitancy on Porter. Did that count as an interrupt? I thought you were done.
No, go ahead.
My hesitancy with Porter, as I heard other people saying this yesterday. Now, don't get me wrong. We're projecting him for 6% ownership right now. I'll be overweight. But I heard other people saying this before last game, and as soon as Aaron Gordon was out, I was just like, screw this. I'm playing him anyways. But his rates don't go up without Nikola Jokic. And I kind of thought, that's going to be variance. That's not going to last. But when I watched that entire game, and he just doesn't get the same shots without Nikola Jokic. Like without Jokic, like he moves without the ball well. He in theory has very good dribble moves and is a good shot creator, but he just does so much when he tries hopping in the same spots and then trying a step back. And so if his shot's not on, it doesn't go. And so without Jokic creating those shots for him, he wasn't that into the game.
That's a really good point. And I don't know if this stands true. Wow, I interrupted you for once. If this stands true, Aaron Gordon and Jokic used to correlate positively as well because of the open looks he was getting. So I kind of like that take, TJ. Now, Bones Highland has no problem getting his own shots, right?
Exactly. Bones Highland will dribble the whole time, which makes me like he looks like a little kid playing a dribble war. Have you ever seen like in a basketball camp or something like that when it's like, hey, you have to stay inside this zone and not let anybody steal the ball from you? That's what Bones Highland looks like he's doing sometimes because he just dribbles the ball around everywhere. He's kind of like a Jordan Clarkson type. But because of that, I think it takes away from Michael Porter. But the reason I'm still going to be overweight is because this is more, I think, a conversation necessary for Michael Porter as a whole as opposed to tonight. Because if we're going to get sub 6% to own Michael Porter, if he's hot, he'll still smash. If he's not, he starts the game 1 for 6 in the first quarter and then ends at 1 for 8 like last game. He's probably not going to play that many minutes and he's going to not do anything. But if he's hot, he's going to smash because he's Michael Porter. He's kind of a goof and he will disappear when he's not shooting well and he'll go crazy when he is shooting well. He's kind of like a more talented Terrence Ross. And so with him being low owned, I'll still take that shot in a chance where he should be able to get usage if he's hot because the upside's still high. I don't think the median projection should be all that high. And we see the 30.5 projection we have on him right now. But I also honestly think that floor and that ceiling are both too not egregious enough. Like I think the floor should be like 12 and I think the ceiling should be like 55 on a guy like Michael Porter, just because I think he has such a wide range of outcomes. I don't think we have to touch too long on the LA stuff. They're playing a terrible defense. If LeBron doesn't play, AD is a great GPP play. Russell Westbrook is a great GPP play. If LeBron does play, I don't think any of them are very interesting. They have Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant coming back. I think we can just avoid this Laker team unless LeBron's out. Then there's some interesting GPP options. The
AD
one game,
38% usage game against Brooklyn. I love to hear that.
yes. As a guy who just has Anthony Davis in one of his season-long leagues and just traded to acquire him in the other one in a straight-up deal for Karl Anthony Towns, I want to see lots and lots of good AD, and I want to see him on the court. So the one game that's projecting very well and has the highest total on the slate is the Golden State Warriors and the New York Knicks. This feels weird considering what we've seen from these teams in the past, but they're not playing near as good of defense as they have in the past. The Knicks aren't playing as well defensively. The Golden State Warriors have been the worst defensive team in the NBA. So to me, that does make both of these teams interesting. But we also, like right now, the best RG value on the slate is a $5,700 Draymond Green. If Green lands on a last piece in cash, I think that's fine. I don't know what Draymond Green's ceiling is, so I don't really want to play him in tournaments. Steph Curry is still one of the top 3 players in the NBA, and he's been showing it, trying to carry this team that doesn't do anything defensively. He had a crazy good game last game with 50 points. He was just so unbelievably hot from the field. He would have had more if that game would have stayed closer, but nobody else on Golden State was doing anything, and they just couldn't stop Phoenix. What do you like from this game? Is the total and the projections, are they drawing you to it, or are you feeling kind of like me where it's you'll have Steph Curry, but nobody else is all that appealing? Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, sure, they're all fine, but they're all kind of priced appropriately. Like, I'm not really liking this one all that much.
I love Curry. I've been playing Curry. I've been rating him up on expert surveys. I'm not right all the time. I can't even say I'm right 2/3 of the time, but I was all over him for that Phoenix game. He's just matchup proof. In the games he isn't getting there, everyone has a bad game once in a while, but the games he's not getting there are typically in blowouts or games where he's not playing 30 minutes. He is having maybe the best season of his career. He is averaging the most points per game at the highest field goal percentage from the floor, and he's grabbing the most rebounds he's ever grabbed per game in his career too. So he's racking up the peripherals. Now his ownership's finally creeping up. People are starting to catch on a little bit here. Projections are adjusting slightly, and he's projected to come in around 20%. I'm more than willing to go twice the field on Curry tonight. I don't think you need to force a run back either, because like you said, these Knicks just typically kind of collectively chip in with the addition of Jalen Brunson, who does distribute well and make teammates better, but he's a scoring guard as well, which kind of hurts the consistency and the ceilings of Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. I do think Randle is my favorite play from the Knicks, though. I'm not crazy about Barrett. I'm indifferent about Brunson, but with Mitchell Robinson's status still in doubt, doesn't look like he'll be playing. I like the idea of Julius Randle at the 5 in this high-paced game, and centers have been scoring against Golden State. Now, Julius Randle isn't your traditional center. He might not play there the whole game, but I think he's in a really good position, and Golden State plays at the fastest pace in the NBA. So I like Curry. I like Randle. I'm not necessarily gluing them together, but I definitely want to have a couple of lineups with both of them together in case this thing does shoot out like projections are anticipating it to.
Where most of my interest in this game actually lies isn't from a DFS standpoint. It's from a betting standpoint. And, in 150, don't get me, especially on the other sites, but on FanDuel a little bit too. In 150, I'm actually going to take a couple shots on on Manuel quickly. he just has a really big ceiling. If this game gets ugly at all, he could play extended minutes. I don't know yet if I'll feel the need to take shots on Toppin or Reddish, but I think, Toppin or Sims, but I think Cam Reddish makes for a strong value play. He's been playing big minutes and just been playing very well lately. But where most of my interest lies on this game, it's from the betting standpoint. Luch, I know you got a little pull over there at scores and odds. I'm more of a DFS guy than a betting guy, but if this call goes well, after a Titans money line call yesterday, you guys might have to be pulling me over there more. I think where I'm most interested is the New York Knicks plus 7.5. Like, that's a big number against a team that's not playing any defense.
I agree.
I think the Knicks money line is interesting, and I think the Knicks plus 7.5 is one of the strongest bets of the day.
Yeah, no, I like that call, and you can see the Oilers hat and the Derrick Henry shirt I have going on here. So it was nice to see Tennessee kind of put Green Bay's season to sleep. Anywho,
who is the best Houston Oilers quarterback of all time?
Warren Moon.
Yes, sir. Also the best Canadian football quarterback of all time.
I figured there was a Canadian angle here.
Played 5 seasons in the CFL and won 5 straight Grey Cups.
I actually have a Warren Moon jersey in my closet here. I don't know if I can get to it before the end of the show, but
if he played his full career in the NFL, I think he'd be considered one of the best QBs ever.
Hey, hit the like button, 100 likes, and I'll get my roommate Kirk Dees to play the piano behind me, since everyone thinks a bunch of us live in an RG house here. 100 likes and someone plays the piano. How about that?
Kirk Dees, Luch, and Cardi all living in the same house. Last 2 spots I want to talk about. First one, briefly, Phoenix and Utah. It's a tight, close total. We're expecting to I thought we were maybe expecting to get Chris Paul back, but we don't have him projected in lineup HQ right now. He's doubtful. So there you go. Without Chris Paul, Devin Booker, one of my favorite tournament options on the slate. I faded Cameron Payne last game, and I regretted it because he was the one who took over Booker. I would make that one. We were talking about rules in lineup HQ. I would make a rule of I'd only want one of Booker or Payne. I'd only want one of Payne and Bridges, I think.
Yep.
And I'd play a lot of Bridges. I'm going to play a lot of Booker. I'll play a little Payne. I'm going to play some DeAndre Ayton. And on the other side of this game, I like Utah quite a bit too. Lauri Markkanen, I think, is very interesting for tournaments. Mike Conley is too cheap. A lot of these guys are more interesting on a different site, but Kelly Olynyk, Jared Vanderbilt, I think all of these guys are interesting.
Campaign, I love that 6K price. He's not going to kill your lineup at 6K, and he's exceeded 7 times value in 2 of the last 3 games. So we know that Campaign is a high usage guy, and the absence of Chris Paul gives him those minutes. So, Devin Booker as well. I think all of your build group ideas are spot on with exactly what you said. One of Booker or Payne, one of Payne or Bridges. And Utah is kind of interesting here. Jordan Clarkson is kind of at the price where I'm not sure. I'm okay with Mike Conley. I just feel like I'm always on the wrong side of Mike Conley. And Markkanen has had a nice little season, and we haven't projected at 1% ownership here. So he has 50-point upside, and I think he is pretty interesting here. But, overall, I'm not rushing to play Utah. My priority here is with the Phoenix Suns if and when we get the actual news that Chris Paul is out. And at this point, we're just expecting him to not play, right?
Yeah. Who's Utah's coach? Quinn Snyder? I believe it's Quinn Snyder. I think they need to get a coach speak award, because before the season, there was a quote out of Utah's training camp that Lauri Markkanen is going to have a big year. He's going to be allowed to shoot as many shots as he wants.
It's Will Hardy. That's right. It was Quinn Snyder.
It's not Quinn Snyder anymore?
Nope.
Oh, there you go. So shout out Will Hardy, because he said Lauri Markkanen was going to have a good year. He's going to be allowed to shoot as many shots as he wants. And that's been true. Think of how many times you see somebody say that and it just doesn't result. But double digits in almost every game, just that one in the single digits, multiple games in the 20s. This guy is getting his opportunity, and I think this is an interesting one. Last game of the night, I want to talk about my favorite little game stack on the slate. It's Indiana, it's Houston. Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner are going to be two of my favorite plays on the slate. I think Buddy Hield is very interesting for tournaments, and I'll even take some shots on somebody like a Benedict Mathurin. And then on the other side of this game, I don't think we're going to see much ownership going to Kevin Porter, Alperen Şengün, Jalen Green. We're seeing the almost 20% for Şengün and Green right now. I don't know if it's actually going to go that high. But if we get Kevin Porter Jr. out, I think Jalen Green becomes one of the best plays on the slate. And then it also opens up a lot of value for this team. And I love Şengün today in this spot as well. So probably my favorite little mini stack on the entire slate is going to be Halliburton, Turner, and Şengün.
I absolutely love this game too. Halliburton's assist line opened up at 10.5. I don't think we've seen that since vintage Russell Westbrook 13K FanDuel price days. So Halliburton's getting it done. 89. He's not even 9K yet. This man has like the highest floor on the slate at per dollar, I think. And he has 60-point upside, especially in this matchup with Indy having a 120-point team total here. I think your analysis is pretty damn good, TJ. Miles Turner's been breaking slates. Whenever he plays 30-plus minutes, he has the ability to put up 50-plus here. He is also having a career-high usage season, Miles Turner. And, he has a 60 and a 55 on his game log and a 46. So you can see what he's done when he's gotten 30-plus minutes. And this has a fantastic game environment. I think we're going to see a couple ceiling games come out of this one, regardless of, whoever you're choosing is.
If I was doing cards as core plays today, so just kind of core from an optimal cash standpoint today, for me it would be like, so he's got Dylan Brooks, Gabe Vincent, Bones Highland, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I have no arguments with any of those, but for me it would be Bones Highland, Dylan Brooks, and Tyrese Halliburton. Vincent I don't think is an absolute must if you have a different Miami player in cash games. I do think you need at least one Miami player in cash games, but I don't think it's necessarily a must. My core for cash would be Highland, Halliburton, and Brooks. But the one thing I want to say is my core for tournaments today, my highest owned players for tournaments today, they're going to be still Bones Highland and Tyrese Halliburton, as well as Devin Booker and Miles Turner.
I can't argue with you. Good stuff. This is a very interesting slate. I'm definitely leaving some exposure open for potentially playing Anthony Davis, though. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. We might not get the LeBron news, but if LeBron does not play, Anthony Davis could be the best tournament spend up of the evening with his upside and his potential low ownership here.
I'm with you. I think that makes sense. And that pretty much wraps up our FanDuel Friday for the NBA episode. You can find Luch and I both on Twitter, myself, TJ_Zwarych5, ZWARYCH. They're up on the screens here. Luch, what's yours? Is yours up on the screen as well? For some reason, they're not popping up for me here.
At the J Carlucci. And you can find me on NFL Crunch Time most weekends as well. So we'll chat soon. You got to come back on Food for Thought soon so you can chop it up with Chief and I. I think you're going to get a very lengthy Aaron Rodgers rant this coming week.
I need back on Food for Thought. I need more scores and odds. I just need to hang out with you more, Luch. You're my guy. Chief's my guy. Dre's my guy. We got this nice little core here of some friendly DFS players. We got to start doing more content together. Hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. Luch and I will be able to answer comments in the YouTube section, in the RotoGrinders FanDuel Friday section, Discord, Twitter, all of these throughout the day, answering your questions. Just make sure you hit us up, and then we'll also have a little bit of a giveaway contest going on. If you want to guess the highest scoring player on the slate. high scoring player and how many points is the tiebreaker. We'll give away a free week of RG Premium. If you're sitting there thinking, hey, I already got RG Premium, why would I need a free week? That doesn't do anything for me. Guess what? It takes it off, it discounts off of your subscription that you already have. It makes it cheaper. Everybody loves a discount and to save some money. You get to throw it in an extra couple contests or two on FanDuel. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you comment who you think will be the highest scorer for a free week of RG Premium, as well as your questions for Luch and I. Later in the day, we will be back for some more FanDuel Friday, but this time for NFL. Dre and I are going to be back tonight talking this week's NFL slate, breaking it down for you as well. That'll do it for this edition of FanDuel Friday. Good luck. We hope to see you at the top of the contest, and we will see you next week. Peace.